What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go. So let's talk about it. Let's say you ever thought about wanting to be a teacher? Maybe still think about wanting to be a teacher. Do you ever think about being a teacher and then the classroom is a nightmare? What I mean is, how many people go to school, spend all the time, all the hours necessary to become a teacher, do everything that you need to do, interview, get the job, and now you're a teacher, to be met with physical abuse, verbal abuse, and you have to endure it. And then not only do you have to endure all of the physical, emotional, verbal, everything abuse that comes along with it, but if you were to leave, you could have your teacher license revoked. A lot of teachers are saying it's worth it. So we finna get into it. I got a YouTuber by the name of Bohemian Girl. She did a video breaking down some things. And enough talking. We finna get into it. We're gonna add our commentary when needed, but we're gonna get into it. All right, so I'm gonna post the original link or the link to the original video down below. So make sure that you guys also go to her YouTube channel. I always like to shout out, other YouTubers that's doing their thing as well. So we finna get into it. All right.
Now let's get into the video. Today we're going to be running down the top reasons why teachers are quitting all over the country and leaving sooner than planned. Well, let's start with the number one reason why teachers are quitting: compensation. For people who are responsible for educating the world, teachers are grossly underpaid. In the United States, the average hourly pay for a waiter is $15.80 an hour. The average hourly pay for a retail sales worker is $17.08 an hour. And the average hourly pay for a teacher is $22.40 an hour. But unlike teachers, waiters and retail workers aren't required to have undergraduate degrees or certification to work in their jobs. And in teaching, higher education doesn't necessarily translate into higher salaries either. Many teachers with bachelor's and master's degrees are earning sometimes less than retail workers, forcing them to take on second and third jobs just to make ends meet. Some work as servers, some work in fast food, and some even sell plasma. Yes, plasma. In 2018, Time magazine published a cover story detailing just how teachers came to be so underpaid in America. One cover said, "I have a master's degree, 16 years of experience, work 2 extra jobs, and donate blood plasma to pay the bills. I'm a teacher in America." Another cover said, "I have 20 years of experience, but I can't afford to fix my car, see a doctor for headaches, or save for my child's future. I'm a teacher in America." The final cover said, "My child and I share a bed in a small apartment. I spend $1,000 on supplies and I've been laid off 3 times due to budget cuts. I'm a teacher in America." Average salaries vary from state to state, but according to World Population Review, Mississippi has the lowest salary at $47,162 and New York the highest at $92,222. But starting salaries tend to be much lower and far below most states' livable wage. Check out this archived Reddit post from 2022 that echoes similar sentiments. "I thought I was making a reasonable salary as a teacher, but I just took a job as a fast food restaurant manager and it pays significantly more than teaching." My God. The crappy pay is just one of the reasons so many teachers are quitting.
So I do got a question about the pay because I do understand that teachers, do only work X amount of months out of the year. And I know there's like 2 ways that they can get paid. Either they can get paid like a higher payment, but they don't get nothing over the summer, or they can get paid a lower payment and they can still kind of collect what they would have been paid over those months that they were teaching through the summer as well, so they'll still have a steady income coming in. I don't know if that's still in effect, but I do know that was 2 ways that teachers was able to get paid. So I'm wondering if this lower pay has something to do with the effect of, they're off for the summer. I don't know if all that gets calculated. I don't know if all that goes into effect. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I kind of have some type of small inkling that that might be the case as to why payments may be a little less. And then also throughout the year, there's a lot of days off. You got a lot of holidays and parent teacher conferences and all these other stuff where they're not actually necessarily teaching. That's not to say that they may not still be grading papers, maybe getting uh, essays, grading essays or getting teaching topics together. That's not to say that they not still prepping during those times off, but it's still a time off. So I don't know. Maybe all that gets calculated into effect. I really would like a teacher to kind of come out. You don't have to say your name or the school or anything like that because we know how the internet can be. We know how the educational system can be when it comes to teachers speaking out and stuff. But if someone can speak out anonymously, and kind of give us the real insights as to how it is for real, I appreciate it. But enough talking. Let's get back into it.
Quitting. The other reasons? Take your pick.
I found the job to be nonstop, never-ending criticism. I found it to be thankless. I found it to be draining.
The fact of the matter is we don't respect teachers, and we show that based on how we pay them and how we treat them. To look at teachers as do-gooders and nothing more is absolutely insane. We've heard this narrative for so many years that, teachers don't get into the profession to make money. They do it to help the kids. They do it because it's their passion. These people are hardworking professionals, so they should be compensated adequately. Quite frankly, we've gotten too comfortable with that narrative. I mean, is this a profession or is this charity work?
I quit my job after 18 years in that moment. I'm looking at the world of teaching and all the teachers that I know that are in tons of pain, that are suffering, and they're in just tough situations. They're wondering, how do I get out of here? What do I do? A lot of it has to do with society's guilt trip towards teachers, that we have to take it. We have to do it for the kids. There were many times when I was just at school, I was there for the kids and for no other reason, because when you're on the outside, it's kind of probably like a lot of other professions. When you're on the
And I kind of get that too, but let's take that same narrative and flip it back. Oh, you became a mechanic, because you want to help people, you want to get them back on the road, and you ain't in it for the money. Oh, you became a police officer because you want to protect the people and you want safer streets, and you're not in it for the money because these are also underpaid, professions as well. And if we take that same rhetoric and flip it into other industries, it's absurd. It's absurd. So you got to look at, if these teachers are supposed to be the individuals that's supposed to take our youth, and they are the ones that are in position to sculpt and mold and cultivate them to be our future, I think they should be paid adequately. It's just my thought. I'm only one YouTuber.
outside, you think you know what goes on,
Oh, and real quick, he said that he was just there for the children. He's doing it for the kids. And back then you probably could say that. Children back then had a lot more respect for adults, a lot more respect for authority. The kids today, not so much. So it's really hard to go into a situation where the kids today, the teachers today have no backing. And it's not to say all teachers, all schools, all districts, but for what we can, for what gets promoted, what we do see, what does get pushed into the limelight. When you had one teacher that put out a post crying because the mother would not back her on trying to get her child to follow instructions. Well, if she didn't want to do it, she don't want to do it. Like, what type of message are you sending your kids? So how is the teacher supposed to be able to do their job adequately properly in a professional manner when your kid is the one disrupting the classroom, making it unfair for the other children that actually do want to learn. So I guess the point I'm trying to say is not every children is worth just doing it for the kids, because of the parents. The parents made it that way.
The comment about teachers having summer. Oh, what do you guys have to complain about? You have summer off and, all that stuff. Until you're on the inside, you have no idea.
Workers know how much an employer values them by how they pay them and how they treat them. And if you don't pay them and treat them well, then they're going to seek opportunities elsewhere where they're
And I'm sorry to keep pausing. I did not watch this video before I went ahead and jumped on this. So I may end up speaking some commentary and they just gonna start talking right on it. So I did bring up, they get summer, and I don't know how the pay scale for summer and all that works and everything, but I would like more teachers, on the inside to kind of, really tell us what is going on for real, so we can really thoroughly understand, so that when you guys are out there protesting and things of that nature, that we have a better thorough understanding as to what that's all about, what the pay raises are needed for, and things of that nature. I think speaking on it is definitely drastically going to help.
services are better utilized, compensated fairly, and where they're valued. The goal might have been altruistic for them entering the profession, but this is still a profession, and they still need to be able to earn a living. There are teachers who complain about not being able to go on vacation properly because they can't afford it, or start families. A lot of them have said, I've held off on having kids because I just can't even afford to take care of myself. They're taking care of other people's kids, but they can't even afford to have their own. And I feel like in some respects, we look at teachers as nothing more than glorified babysitters or social workers. Teachers make less than doctors, lawyers, engineers, cybersecurity specialists, but when you think about it, there would be no doctor, lawyer, cybersecurity specialist, or engineer without a teacher. Who teaches them to do their job?
But we need to start demanding that we are treated better, that we are not just thrown under the rug by parents, by society, by the superintendent, by the principals, by the administration, all those people that make a lot more money than teachers do, but have very little impact inside the classroom. Teachers are not given nearly enough credit for what we do. They want to call us professionals, but they don't treat us like professionals.
Well, let's move on.
Not only do they kind of, strip away, any means you being able to run your classroom, it's just power in general. You're not able to control your classroom. You're not able to conduct the classroom in the way that you need and to perform your duties at the magnitude that you need to perform to make sure that your classroom, that the children in that classroom are benefiting from the material in the way that they need to benefit so that they can grow. What I mean is, when you have disruptors, you do not have any power to handle the disruptor. And I think that's wrong.
And let's talk about how teachers are overworked. According to a survey by Rand Corporation, teachers work an estimated 53 hours a week. That's 7 more hours than the average working adult. And most of them are overworked due to staff shortages. Many of their colleagues have quit or have put in their resignation letters, so they're about to quit. That means that these teachers who remain in the system are going to be the ones who are expected to pick up the slack. Another complaint that I hear a lot from teachers is that they're expected to just do extra work for free all the time. They're expected to be coaches after school, as tutors, stay behind when kids have detention, if they still have detention. And that survey that I mentioned from Rand Corporation showed that 25% of these teachers are not compensated for doing that work. And those who do get compensated, the money is so minuscule. I have friends and family members who are in the teaching profession, they're teachers, and they talk about having to take on second and third jobs, or some of them want to take on a second job, but they can't because the school has sort of taken over their whole time. So they're there early in the morning to the afternoon, and even if they wanted to leave after school to go to another job, the school is like, no, we need you to coach. Where are you going? No, this is an expectation of your job that you're going to be here to coach or do other assignments that are given to you.
Whenever I was teaching, I was always told you could do more. There's always something. When they observe you, there's one thing that they will always pick, that you could be doing this. And you're just like, okay, but I'm exhausted. This is my life. This is what I dedicate everything to do.
Right.
You've come in, you've seen a 1 hour lesson, and you're telling me there's still more that I can do.
Right.
And then anything else ever I've done outside of teaching, with all my social media, everything, all I ever get told is, you are amazing at this. You are destined to do this. Whereas teaching, they'd say you're a great teacher, but you can do X, Y, Z.
Right.
And it just became so like, there is never enough that you can do. And I remember being sat in a meeting and they were like, we have these free voluntary committees. You don't get paid for them.
But you should,
But if you
I'm
wanna
literally
get,
on 3 voluntary committees.
and they'd say, but if you want to get highly effective in this column, then being on a committee is one of the things.
No,
And
that's
it's like,
ridiculous.
well, pay us then. Like, that's what I want, to be paid for my time.
One of the other things that they complain about is the lack of boundaries when they are off from work. Teachers complain about getting text messages late into the evening on their days off. Many people say that it's not beyond the principal to contact them late in the evening or at early morning hours or on the weekend. And a lot of them are forced to be in group chats. So the group chats from the work are constantly going off, and it's just like they can't separate themselves from school. Teachers are also expected to work fairs and extracurricular activities. And when they decide that they do not, or they refuse to do it, then they're either bullied or overlooked for promotions or just treated poorly on the job. 3 of the teachers that I spoke to say they plan to quit in the next 6 months and just come out of the profession altogether. And one of them said that they would give the profession 1 more year, just 1 more year, and then they're gone.
When I told them the teaching was no longer my passion, that's when they started saying, well, then you shouldn't do it. Let me tell y'all what's up. Majority of those people in that school, majority of people in every school, especially the older people, are trapped. They're trapped because when they wanted to leave the teaching industry, when they were in their youth, maybe 5 to 10 years in, if not sooner, we have way more options. I got way more options. Like, I'm not trapped. And I let them know that. I told them I'm 24. I'm not trapped. And I'm a go-getter. You see what I'm saying? I have options. They did not like that. And they tried to make it seem like you shouldn't be here if it's not your passion. How come when I ask y'all how y'all doing, y'all like, I'm here. How come when we get back from break, oh, it was too short? How come when we come in on a Monday, you just talking about how you count down to Christmas break and you count down to summer break and Lord, these kids get on your nerve. You don't sound passionate. You don't even sound interested. So you're just there for the check. And don't let the industry, don't let education, don't let anything, any type of service or duty profession trick you into going against your interest, your instincts, anything, just for the sake of the kids. The school's not your baby. You can love these kids and you can even love this staff, but priorities. And so I kept that all in perspective. Like I wasn't losing myself in the job. When I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. Stop texting me. When I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. I'm not checking my email. It's things like that. It's boundaries that we are more able to set.
See, that's rough, and she's right. I'm off the clock. It's 3 o'clock. It's 3:30. It's 4. Whatever time school stop, I'm done. I still got to grade all these papers. I still got to put, prep quizzes and prep material and figure out what chapter we gonna read and what material I'm gonna pull out of that chapter so that we can take little pop quiz. There's so much that still has to be done. So not only is there a rev up in disrespectful students, but now the teacher is also up against being bullied by their staff, plus the principal. Text messaging late in the evening, on weekends, you off, trying to relax, you out with your husband, you out with your wife, you on a fishing trip with your family or something, and a text message talking about work. I don't care about what's going on at the school. You're the principal. You got a vice principal. Whatever is going on, y'all are the ones that chose a position to be in to constantly have to answer emails and phone calls or whatever is going on. I'm not in that position. Don't call my phone. Don't text. Don't email. No paper airplane. Nothing. So, yeah, I definitely feel that. When I'm done, man. Leave me alone.
In this generation, the older generation they're not accustomed to that. But I only say that because if I was to be super on fire and didn't know how to pace myself the way that they did, I would have been burnt out. No, I wasn't burnt out when I quit. I actually quit I decided I was going to quit on a Tuesday, and then I put my resignation on a Wednesday, and I eventually had my last day on Friday because I actually was going to do my 30 days. My principal tried to say, we can wrap this up now. Girl, the 30 days was a courtesy. Like, don't lose yourself.
As it got closer to the semester ending, I was like, I don't know if I can do another one. I don't know if I can do another one. I've literally poured every ounce that I have in these kids. Like, I don't know if I can go through another semester of going through my class expectations and consequences, learning new kids, pouring another 110% of my energy and everything. I can't do it. I'm tapped out. Like I'm drained. I have nothing, like literally nothing else to give. There's nothing else that I can do.
So let's talk about the violence that teachers have to deal with. From school shootings to aggressive students and sometimes their parents, these classrooms have become literal war zones for a lot of these teachers. And it depends also what type of school that you're teaching at. If you're in an alternative school, it can be much worse. Teachers have not only been assaulted by their students, but also by their parents and guardians, and they say it's become an absolute nightmare teaching in the school. As of February 16th, there have been 12 school shootings in the United States. 3 were on college campuses, and I believe 9 were on K-12 school grounds. 7 people were killed and at least 19 injured. In 2023, there were 346 school shooting incidents across the U.S., meaning the U.S. averaged nearly 1 shooting every day. Texas saw the highest number of casualties among the states with 21 victims in 2023, followed by Maryland with 20 and California with 18. As it relates to assaults on teachers, threats and violence are a part of the landscape in the classroom. But what percentage of teachers have been assaulted in the U.S. by their students? A survey found that 14% of teachers report being physically attacked by students, and that violence includes punching, shoving, hair pulling, having items thrown at them, being spat at or on, to name a few. The problem is that a lot of these schools take a gentle approach with these students when they act out, when they get violent towards teachers. Teachers report that the students are rarely expelled. They have in-school suspension. Some of them will just be taken to the principal's office where they'll be given snacks and juice and then later on go to another class to create havoc, and there's just no recourse. Meantime, these teachers who are being assaulted on their job are just expected to keep on trucking.
All that disrespect, they say, can even translate to physical violence in a study by the American Psychological Association.
And then you got a lot of people out here that's like, oh, they're just kids, they're misunderstood, they're troubled, and the list just goes on for all these excuses for these teachers, for these students that are violent towards their authority figures. They're violent towards the teachers. They're violent towards their own parents. They're violent towards the police, whoever else. And these teachers can't do absolutely nothing. Just like that one student that smacked the teacher. I believe it was in North Carolina. Twice. Walked up to the teacher, smacked her. Then turned around and asked her, do you want me to smack you again? And then smacked her on the opposite side of the face. Like, it's getting out of control. And the teachers can't do nothing. They're defenseless. How in the world, child or not, how in the world are you supposed to just sit still, let somebody pretty much beat on you, and then you still supposed to just teach? Like how you're not even in the right state of mind. No expulsion, no jail time, no nothing. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of hand.
14% of teachers reported having been physically attacked by a student.
My last year teaching, I had been out on leave twice for being attacked by students. One I had 6 months of physical therapy for. I still wanted to be there. I still wanted to be with those kids. I still want to be with them today. It's just that the system not only doesn't work for us, it doesn't work for the kids, and I can't be a part of it anymore.
It just bothers me that we signed up to do this. I do this because I love numbers. I love teaching kids numbers. But it hurts me to know that she was attacked. You know, like, I've heard about my coworkers being attacked. Personally, myself, that was my last straw. But you hit me in the face. And as a teacher, I'm expected to just take it.
There's a lot of things as
That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. You know, I grew up with, if you don't want to get hit, don't hit. Age and all that don't matter to me, man. If you don't want to get hit, don't hit. You know what I'm saying? If you feel it in your heart to want to step up to a grown adult, man or woman, whatever you claim yourself to be, and you want to go against that, and you decide, and I'm talking about the child, and you decide to want to put your hands on that, you should deserve, or you should make sure that you understand that there's a consequence to that. And it could be a tooth knocked out. It could be black eye. It could, whatever it is. And I'm not promoting the beating of students, but what I am promoting is self-defense. Regardless. Self-defense. I should never have to throw away my ability to defend myself because it's a child. When she just gave the numbers, 346 shootings. These children will shoot. But you take away my ability to defend myself. That's insane to me.
as a teacher I put up with, right? And I had a really overwhelming day at school, and I got home and I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, "Tell, what is wrong with your arm?" And the student had just completely scratched up my arm, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And
That's what's wrong with my arm. I'm done.
And it was so easy. I taught full time for almost 10 years, and my 10th year is now subbing. I was devastated. So I remember going in, it was the easiest decision. I was like, I'm burnt.
And see, and that goes back to what I was saying. Like, look at listen to the time frames that they're given. Oh, I've been teaching for 18 years. I've been teaching for 20 years. This man taught for a decade. And now, 2023, 2024, we're starting to hear all of the BS that's going on in these classrooms. And it's not to say none of this didn't go on during those time periods, but what I'm saying is, look how long they taught. And it was an incident that took place recently that they've fallen into this state of mind of wanting to quit. And no one is doing anything to find out why and come up with a resolution to keep these teachers teaching. They're done.
Now that was like the moment, but I loved that kid was the hard thing too, because I could sit there as I didn't realize he was hurting me because I know he was in crisis.
Sometimes they're forced to return into the classroom with the very student who just assaulted them. But teachers get hit in the face, spat at, get stolen from, get threatened, get harassed, get followed to their car, get beaten up, and they have to keep on trucking. Honestly, I see fewer and fewer people expressing an interest in becoming a teacher, which is so sad because our kids are going to suffer and society at large is going to suffer. And I feel like we're about to approach this point of no return where it doesn't matter what a government offers. It doesn't matter how much they sweeten the pot, no matter how much money they offer or benefits they offer. People are just going to be like, nope, I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather go make my money doing something else where I'm not going to be hurt on my job, or I have to keep fighting for what is rightfully mine. I don't think we're there just yet, but honestly, I think like we are like this close. Finally, I want you to take a listen to this teacher who went off on the Board of Education. I think this was about 2 years ago. and he just voices his frustration. I think this was recorded like during the pandemic time. It's a bit long, but it's so worth the listen. So here we go.
Sean McCarroll. I'm a teacher over at North, and I live down in the park. Last year, I participated in a professional development session during our November PD Day. Offered by Beaumont, we were strongly encouraged to go. The topic was how to triage after the event of a school shooting. During that session, I learned and even practiced on a dummy how to pack a bullet wound and apply a tourniquet to prevent blood loss in our students. I also, to my horror, learned that if my students were to get shot in the chest, I should leave them for dead and assist those who had a better chance of survival. Now, I find it interesting. The district sponsored that for us and trusts us, the teachers, who have no medical training.
That is that is an oxymoron. You're giving me the training. You're giving me the training on how to properly tend to a wound, how to properly tend to a gunshot. But then you turn around and say, well, if they get shot, just leave them there. Only tend to those that pretty much have a better chance. All right, I'm gonna let them talk.
Training in any capacity to be the first responders to our students' medical needs in the event of a school tragedy. Trust us to literally choose and decide who would live and die, while you don't even trust us with the educational decisions that are in the best interest of our students, the thing that we've been hired to do. The teachers in this district are experts in education. We've been highly trained through advanced degrees and years of experience to make the best educational decisions for our students. I have 10 years of experience, 2 postgraduate degrees in education. I'm a licensed K-12 administrator and a district level department chair. I'm more qualified to make educational decisions for our students. Except for one person, everybody here has less experience or actual knowledge of what life is like in our classrooms. Like you've done to my colleagues, you've disregarded my experience, my professionalism, and my expertise and reality and substituted it with your fantasies. You're listening to them. They don't know what happens in our classrooms. They're not there, and neither are you. You sit up on this stage, which, by the way, I hope you enjoy the space you have here. This does not exist in our classrooms. And you tell us after your meetings that you so appreciate and respect us. Well, I cry bullshit. You don't respect us. If you respected us, you'd listen to us. You don't appreciate us. If you did, you wouldn't make our jobs literally impossible to do. If you cared, you would pretend that you're listening, at least. I sent you an email months ago expressing my concern about our full face-to-face return, and I didn't get a single response from any of you, not one, not even a message received. I helped get many of you elected to this board, and you couldn't even be bothered to hit reply. You actually respected me and my colleagues. You prove it with your actions. Instead, you'll make your vote tonight, basically a foregone conclusion because you're trying to ram it through in a single meeting, and then you'll get to the end of the meeting where you say that you do respect us. Last time we were here, John told you that teachers were angry. You could probably tell that was true. He said, though, that it wasn't about any decisions at the board level. It was the situation. We're not angry about the situation. We can't control COVID. We're angry at you. We are angry at you. And angry is a nice way of putting it. You've done more damage to our students, our district, and our profession in the last 12 months than we've seen in the last decade. Keep going down this path, and I'll be surprised if our #1 teachers even stick around. I know I'm not. I submitted my resignation to 389 last week, and I'm looking forward to doing something that's going to be valued and appreciated, not lied to and belittled. Listen to your teachers. We're #1 in spite of this board, not because of it. If you trust us to plug a bullet wound, you should trust us with this.
That's 3 minutes.
How many teachers need to leave before you start to listen?
How many teachers need to leave before you listen?
They was so quick to throw up that show 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. How come nobody spoke up and said, hey, listen, we understand your frustration. We hear you. We apologize for not receiving the email or responding back to your email. We did receive it. We didn't know how to respond. We hear all these frustrations. We're working diligently, trying to figure out how to come up with a plan to resolve these issues within the law and blah, 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 blah. Like something, not just that's your 3 minutes. And I need you to shut the hell up. That's your 3 minutes. Move on. That's your 3 minutes. We heard you. You said your piece. That's your 3 minutes. That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy.
How many teachers need to leave before you listen? That's an excellent question. He's absolutely right. And his question leads to my question of the day. What do you think should happen to students who get physically and verbally violent towards their teachers? And also, my second question, should be questions of the day, is what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years or 10 years as far as the teaching profession is concerned? What do you anticipate happening? I want to hear your comments.
So I got a thought, and I have an answer for the second part of her question. The first part is I think that the student should be criminally charged, for sure, as an adult, should be criminally charged. Felony, absolutely, 100%. Serve time. And not just no little 365 days. No, they need to sit down. They need to sit down. Because clearly they're showing you that they have zero respect for any authority at all. They need to have a great seat. As far as that second part, from what I understand, that there is a huge push for remote learning nationwide, like permanently going remote learning. I see all types of pros and cons to that. We can probably get into that in another video, but that's where I see it going. That's where I see it going. I mean, it happened during the pandemic. It worked well, and they're probably going to really start pushing for that to happen for real. So I don't know. Could be, could not be, but there's going to be a lot of, space or buildings, whatever, that could be repurposed for something else. I know there's one school, I believe it's in Texas. If not, I mean, I'll look it up, whatever. But I believe that school is being repurposed for living quarters. The classrooms are being converted into living spaces and being rented out. So that's a possibility for these schools once they switch it to remote learning, if they do it. But I have heard that that's a big push as to what's happening right now.
I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Well, if you've come to the end of this video and you enjoyed.
All right, so that's that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm pretty sure I said, some things that might have been controversial. Maybe I said some things that you agree with. Maybe you disagree with. Whatever your thoughts and feelings are, put them in the comments section below. Again, I'm going to have the link to her video down in the description below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the Extraordinary Men podcast. Make sure you check out the Bohemian Gal. Like, share, subscribe to her channel. Let her know that the Extraordinary Men put you on to her. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go. And I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.